Hello.
Hi, Mom. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Can you help me with a project I'm working on for philosophy?
Yes.
Okay, I just have to talk to you for like 15 minutes. We have to have a conversation about a topic that I was learned about. Um, I guess how do I start this off? Remember that thing I was telling you about earlier about like the guy in the Chinese room where like he is able to like spit out Chinese sentences, but he doesn't actually know it, and how that's kind of like how
Yeah.
computers work.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's for sure right. I think that makes sense. Not sure what
Yeah.
to say really. Yeah, I was thinking about that because, like, you know how I tell you about how I use like AI a lot, like pretty much every day, but like just
Yeah.
innocuously.
Yeah.
Um, I can definitely notice that because it's not like talking to an actual person. Because like the AI will completely like disrupt the topic of conversation just to like say the most likely next sentence in response to whatever you said, you know? And
Yeah.
sometimes like a lot of applications, like the main one that like I barely ever use, but like the most popular AI like platform thing is like
Yeah.
this one website called Character AI that I've used a couple of times. And it literally just
Right.
like will summarize exactly what you say and like just add like one single sentence of additional detail or something. And it's super fucking
Okay.
annoying, but it always does that. And I think like those sorts of websites just like are pretty much data collection for Google, you know, or some other
Yeah.
website like Meta, because like it's super user friendly and it's like easy to just like type in. There's no like loading times, but like
Yeah.
it's clear that they don't put any like processing power towards actual responses. I saw a
Yeah. Like
YouTuber
if you're
do that. Huh?
if you're asking it, I mean, like you're asking it a question,
Yeah, like if
and
you
you're
ask it a question or if like you want to extend like a bit of writing that you made, it'll pretty much
yeah.
barely do that at all. You know, even that YouTuber Ryan George that we like. I remember he did like a 20-minute video on character AI because it had like multiple chatbots that were set up to like talk like him. And it was really funny because they didn't know anything. And they didn't know who he was at all. And so they were like making up details about how he was gay and how he was 21. And he was like, "Man, this is gonna be tough to tell my wife that I'm actually gay. I don't know
Yes.
who I would live with is." And that was really funny. But it's like really just shows that like it's all kind of bullshitting. Those sorts of AI models, bullshitting like the actual term. Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
learned about that. We read a fucking hour-long paper about it. It took forever because I kept paying attention because it was super boring.
About
Uh, yeah, about bullshitting, like actually what it is, and like essentially it's just like talking when just with the emphasis not being on actually what you're saying or like whether or not it's true, but on how much like volume of speaking you can do.
yes.
You know, that's essentially it. I could go into more details and just bore you to death, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting topic that I'm very excited to learn about.
I think we should use interesting topics because I am driving.
Yeah, sorry.
Honestly,
That would suck.
yeah, it does seem like you're a description of bullshit.
Yeah,
Saying actually saying anything.
I know. It's like I saw this clip of like a politician in Australia and like
Yeah.
he had like passed some legislation to like make transgender students like use the bathroom that they were assigned at birth or something. And then this
Yeah.
like student came up and he was like, "Hey, you passed this piece of legislation, and it was like it looked like a dude, and he was like, do you think the girls in my high school would be comfortable with me going into their bathroom because I'm a trans like man? And then the
Yeah.
politician guy basically was just like, I just want to thank you for like, participating in democracy and like for speaking your voice. That's great because I value the youth and I value all that. And like he gave like a 10-minute answer that like literally he didn't like answer it at all. And it was all bullshit.
Yeah. Yes or no question.
Yeah, yes or no question. Answered by, let me tell you.
Yes or no.
Yeah. You see that a lot though. That happens so much. I do that all the time. But it's fun sometimes. It's just bullshit,
Yeah.
talk out of your ass.
Like you start just kind of talking because you don't like know what your answer is. So it buys you a little bit of time
Yeah.
if you're being an honest person now, like and your politician, he probably knows the answer. The
Yeah.
answer is no. Well, a bunch of girls do not want someone who they believe to be a boy, they think of as a boy, looks like a boy, coming in their bathroom.
Yeah.
That is the answer. But he can't say that. That politician can't say that because it contradicts, everything that he proposed in the legislation and probably what his backers are saying.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do it when you don't know the answer, you need more time, or you just can't say the right answer.
Yeah. When you want to run out the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
They even do that like I think it's called filibustering during like in like Congress where like people will just like stand up at the seat and just like talk for like hours on end. And I remember like the fun fact, the person to do the longest like thing of filibustering did it for like 25 hours. And he did it because he was super racist and he didn't want the Civil Rights Act to be passed.
Yeah, yeah. Books and reading books and like reading every word of a piece of legislation or just like grandstanding,
Yeah.
posturing, that kind of thing. Yeah, bullshitting has a long, prosperous legacy.
Yep. Government.
Yeah. So what else do you like about AI? Before you guys
Well,
talk
we
about
didn't
AI?
like learn about it. We were more just discussing its like implications and like what it is. Because there's also like a thought that like it's not like it can be instead of it thinking on its own and being treated as such, it could be thought of as a tool used by like those who like how the information gets from like to an AI and then to the person who's using the AI. So like if you ask AI a question, the answer
Yeah.
comes from like a paper like with that's written by experts. It could be thought of that there's an actual tool by the expert to help distribute information instead of as an AI forming its own thought from previously read experience. You know?
Yeah, yeah. You know, just those things. I think there are good uses for it, but it is something that definitely be abused.
Right now it's like in the abusive stage, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like essentially making people dumber and less creative
Yeah.
because they don't know how to do it. Like a friend of mine who is a professor at Pitt
Yeah.
was telling me that so many of her students, when she assigns papers, just have AI do it. And then she runs the papers through an AI detection or whatever that software program is.
Yeah.
And like none of her students are actually, yeah, they're not actually writing their own papers.
Yeah.
And she's furious because if, part of writing the paper is learning something, it is like learning to write and to communicate as well as all of the, research and thought that has to be put into it. And if you're bypassing that throw in a couple sentences into AI and it spits out the paper that you need.
Yeah. I have a lot of
Yeah.
conversations with people who like just say stuff like that, like, "Oh, I don't really care about this English class. I'll just use ChatGPT." And like, that's just I don't know. Maybe I just value my education more, like specifically in English and stuff. Maybe I'm just proud of my ability to read. But like,
Yeah.
I always think lesser of the person who says that.
Two. Now,
Because it's
if you're
like if you can't
excited,
write something given and like you will have consequences if you don't write something and you like still just don't do it, then like I gotta wonder like can you even write? If you do that every time, can you even do it if you want to? Because if you're not doing it when you have to, you certainly aren't going to do it when you want to, or you're certainly not going to want to do it ever, you know?
yeah,
And
I think writing is one of those skills that you have to continually do.
yeah,
Otherwise, it just becomes harder and harder. Now, I don't know if Paige ever told you, but her English class that she took like senior year in college, her English professor was so fed up with AI and people turning in papers that they had to hand write papers in class. Like instead of doing like maybe 3 papers throughout the semester, they would do like one a week and they wrote it in one day. And it was like one writing day, and they couldn't even type it. It had to be handwritten on notebook paper and turned in that day. And like I don't even think they knew what the topic was going to be about. Because I can't remember if it was creative writing or writing. I can't remember what it was, but it was because of a and this professor. It's the first time she'd done it because I think she was just so irritated with all of her students writing their actual papers.
yeah. I mean, like I get it. I've done that before. Like I haven't like written a whole paper with AI, but like I've had certain like Wikipedia passages expedited and synonized, and so just like I could put just a bunch of raw information into like a long paper I was writing, and then leave like the more artistic, languid details to me writing it. Because it doesn't, I feel like it doesn't really matter if you're just putting raw information in, whether or not it's written by like, whether or not it's put by an AI. Because it's just gonna spit it out in its most basic form, and that's what I would do.
Is information that you need to have maybe generalized or summarized, or maybe it's not really scientific and you don't understand it, and things like that. But just straight up writing it and then doing it.
Yeah.
Now, not, but at least with papers and whatnot, you can edit that and use it as a start off. Dad today was trying to get a photo, like a picture, that
Yeah.
he could. And so he put all of his criteria and had AI generate it. And obviously it was about triathlon. And so he was asking me to help him look at these pictures. And the concepts themselves were very cool for what he was looking for. But when you looked at the images, like people had multiple arms, people were cross-eyed. One guy had a hand on his bike, but the rest of the arm was straight out,
Yeah.
and like multiple wheels on bikes and things like that. So I kind of don't understand the point of that, because yeah, it's a great concept, but it's not usable in any
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I wouldn't like. I would never like if I had to run a business. I wouldn't use AI to like make art or something for like pictures or something. Because it's just like anytime I see it on like TikTok or like online of like a clearly AI generated thing, like I get so mad whenever that Coke commercial comes on, where it's like the entire thing is generated with AI, because it just looks
Yeah.
terrible. It doesn't look good at all. It just